what's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? What's happening? You know who it is. This is Kevin from the Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song Day Rock 2008. Happy to have you on here. It's episode number 42. Did I say 42? I did. This is, well, the Jackie Robinson episode, I guess. So, hoo-ha-hee-hee-ha. Alrighty, got some stuff to talk to you guys about today, but before I do that, I'm going to go to my shameless plugs. So you guys know how the shameless plugs work. It'd be, if we had advertising, that would be the shameless plug section, but at the moment, we don't. Again, shout out to Andrew Schuler for helping us get in with some of those companies, trying to send those proposals over, finishing them up, so we'll see how those go. Had some companies reach out to me that I reached back out to. Haven't heard back from them yet. So, again, we'll see what happens, and this video seems kind of weird. Shoot, there we go. That's the bad. So you guys know I'm redoing like the videos for these as well, so that you guys can actually see what's going on when I am speaking. So if you're on YouTube, you can watch these videos, and it is glorious. So basically, shameless plugs, just going to go with all the My Song of the Day stuff. So follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Apple, Spotify. Shoot, what am I saying? Let's restart that. Follow our social media accounts for My Song of the Day Rock today. Facebook, you're going to know everything that goes on anytime anything's released. Twitter, we're talking to you guys. Instagram, we're talking to you guys, asking you questions. Doing our behind-the-scenes IGTV videos every single Tuesday. We're doing our live streams every single Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central. So you guys can ask us questions. I mean, you can ask me questions for like an hour. That's pretty much what happens, and it's a fun time, too. Also got our YouTube channel as well, where you can watch our YouTube videos come out every single Wednesday, and we do stuff, like we've done a lot of album reviews this year, but now we're kind of taking a break from those. We're preparing to start doing the end-of-the-year stuff, and that's going to be just a gigantic thing that we're going to do. So I've got like 6 or 7 videos coming out from Christmas to New Year's Day, and it's going to be all about, the end of the year and the beginning of 2020. So we'll see how that all goes. But that's all going to be on our YouTube channel. Podcast, you're listening to it right now, or if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. But if you're listening to it, you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Play. So links for all this stuff's in the description and something with our Alexa skill. So with the skill, that's where you can hear all the Song of the Day choices. You can hear them anytime you want that day, and then every 24 hours the song changes, so you're constantly getting a fresh take. You get to hear old bands you forgot about, hear bands you never heard of that are big. Also, every single Saturday we do Small Band Saturday, which has been one of my favorite things to do, and starting on Friday I'm putting out a huge thing to get Small Band Saturday Part 3 going. So basically I started out with Part 1, and that got me through the end of, I believe, September with all the features. Part 2's gotten me going into the month of January, and I want to get Part 3 started so I can have a bunch of small bands to really kind of go off of and talk to. And we'll see if we can get some on the Chord Progression Podcast as well. So links for all this stuff in the description below. So that's where that is. But now let's get on to the actual show. Yay! Because, you got to get on to the actual show with this stuff. And I went to a concert this weekend, guys, and let's just say I had high expectations because of the concerts I've seen previous. So the show I saw this week was The Devil Wears Prada, was the headliner. Norma Jean opened up for them, and then the opening act was Gideon. Now, I was a little concerned about that just because, again, I'm not the biggest Devil Wears Prada fan. I know they came out with their new album back in October. I did not do an album review on that one because I know it came out in October. I think I did the Issues one the week it came out, or the Lacuna Coil one. Kind of wish I would have done the Devil Wears Prada one, especially with me going to the show, but you know what? I had committed to one or the other, and I decided to stick with it, and I didn't feel like doing 2 in that week, especially with what was going on at my full-time job. So the show, again, was at probably my favorite place to go see a show, which is at The Rave here in Milwaukee. And it was the last show on their U.S. tour, the last show in the U.S. for the year, so it's going to be cool to see what they kind of put together. I saw something online right away that said, hey, we got a special t-shirt for you guys, and I hope I might be able to pull it up, but I'm not sure if I will be able to. If I find one, I'll put it in the little corner on the video. It was the Milwaukee Bucks logo that had, where it said Milwaukee Bucks, instead of Bucks said TDWP, which I thought was pretty cool. So get to the show. It's on a Saturday night, and it's at the rave. It's in the basement. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the basement. I'd much rather see a show up in the club or the ballroom. However, I have seen good shows in the basement. I have seen snoozers in the basement. So at the basement, I've seen 2 full sets. I saw Tremonti and 10 Years play in the basement back in 2018. Tremonti was awesome. 10 Years was kind of a snoozer, and I just don't know what was going on because I liked them when they opened up for Chevelle in 2017. So it was interesting to see what would happen. But I saw a show in the basement 2 weeks ago, and that was Light the Torch, Fit for a King, and Ice Nine Kills. Now, that is easily still going to stick in one of my top 5 shows for the year because I thought Light the Torch was, again, okay. I thought they could have done a little bit of a better job. Fit for a King really got the mosh pit going, so I was pretty pleased with that. And then Ice Nine put on one hell of a show where the mosh pit was going, the energy was good, the theatrics that weren't too much, but they did a lot of the stuff in the horror scene. And I gotta tell you, since that show, I've still been on this huge Ice Nine binge lately, and I'm really enjoying it. I've been listening to Ice Nine a lot since I've been basically been working out the past 2 weeks with them. I mean, I work out all the time, but the past 2 weeks, I've been like specifically listening to on my runs. I've been listening to the Silver Scream album. Otherwise, I've been trying to incorporate a lot more into there, and I'm just really enjoying it. I love their hard sound, especially when it comes to working out, but I digress. But basically what I'm trying to say is the shows I've been seeing lately, so there was that one, there was Motionless in White, which was just an utter insanity of a time with the energy. Again, that was also at the rave, but that was upstairs in the club level. And then in between those two, between Motionless in White and Ice Nine Kills, I saw Beartooth I Prevail and Day to Remember in Minneapolis. So again, I had some high expectations going. It's probably because of the fact that the matter was I'd seen pretty good shows leading up to it. I mean, even go before that, I saw Disturbed within this moment, and then I saw Gwar. So, and before that was Riot Fest. So these shows, I had a very high expectation for them. Just due to the fact that, you know, I've been seeing a good amount of them. When clearly it wasn't going to be like Ice Nine because Ice Nine sold out pretty quickly, and they couldn't put them up in the ballroom or up in the club because pop sensation Melanie Martinez was in the ballroom that same night, and I forgot who was in the clubs, but they already kind of had it set up, so you couldn't really move around stages. However, this one, I believe there was one in the club level or the bar. There wasn't. There was a stage open, but, you know, I looked at the crowd when I walked in, because I walked in maybe 25 minutes before Gideon started, and it really wasn't all that packed. I knew they were giving away a lot of free tickets. I had free tickets, however, I did buy one initially, so that's, of course, you know, I'm going to use that one. And in the end, I thought, you know what, let's just see what happens. My friend Natasha was going to come and meet me at the show, so I'm like, and I saw Motionless in White with her, so, again, she was the one that kind of made sure my cut above my eye wasn't too bad. So I'm sitting there waiting, and all of a sudden Gideon comes on. And I don't know what the heck happened. Their energy just did not match what the crowd was going for. They were constantly calling for, you know, a lot of energy, move the mosh pit open. And we did get a pretty good sized mosh pit going to start. Like, we had the space. I'm not saying that we had the people or for size, but like size wise to really mosh in, you had the space to work with. And I just was watching it, and I'm like, do I jump in this? Do I not jump in this? And it was a lot of like about maybe like 5 or 6 guys that were in there for a pit that we had for Ice Nine where we had like 30, 40 people in there. And these 6 guys, they were just kind of thrashing around, throwing elbows, kicking, like punching the air, just like, and I didn't really want to get into that just because the fact of the matter was I just didn't really feel the energy. And when it comes to me being in the mosh pit, I absolutely love when there's more people in there and you just get to bounce off of people, or you get to just hit people in your shoulder. I don't want to deal with the thrashers because that's just not my style. So as the show was progressing, I was kind of standing there just watching the show, trying to get into Gideon, and it's just the energy and the vibe of the show was just completely off, where it just did not match. And I was just not the biggest fan of Gideon's set. It just didn't really feel like it fit. As time kept going on, my friend Natasha did find me, so we got to hang out and watch that part of the show. And we were kind of, again, behind the pit at that point. So I didn't really take any video during Gideon because I didn't really want to take any video during Gideon. If I wasn't feeling it, why the heck would I take any video? I mean, if you look at our Instagram page, I definitely have video from the other two, but I don't have any from Gideon because I just didn't really care for him. It really kind of really sunk the bar lower for the rest of the show, which I thought was actually kind of good for me, just because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll enjoy Norma Jean and Devil Wears Prada more. We'll see what happens. But after they ended their set, my friend Natasha, again, we worked our way closer to the front, and you can definitely see that in the videos. We were kind of more off to the right side of the stage, though. Then Norma Jean comes on. I had a kid that was probably, like 19, 20 years old-ish behind me. And while Norma Jean was going, they got a okay pit going. I'm not going to say they had the best pit of the year. I'm not going to say they had the worst pit of the year. I'm going to say it was okay. Wasn't as good as Motionless or After the Burial. Wasn't as good as Anti-Flag or Pennywise. Wasn't as good as Riot Fest. I'm trying to think of some of the other good ones I've been in. Wasn't as good as Seven Dust. Seven Dust was fun. But they came out and they played pretty hard, but the kid that was pretty much like stone behind me, he looked at one of the guitarists and said, "Hey man, doesn't he kind of look like Post Malone?" And I said, "Dude, I think you might be a little too high." Mostly because of the fact that it kind of really didn't look like Post Malone. However, I looked at their other guitarist, I thought, my God, that dude looks like Uncle Rico, but 20 years younger than Uncle Rico. Again, Uncle Rico, Napoleon Dynamite, for those of you who don't get the reference. But I was listening to the show, and they were playing good music. I really was enjoying some Norma Jean. But there was at one point where lead singer Norma Jean, I have no clue what the guy's name is, and I don't really feel like looking it up right now. He was given this like lead-in to a certain song. I still don't remember what song the lead-in was, but he gave this really impassioned speech. Only problem was the impassioned speech and what the song was going into did not mesh at all. Even the kid that was high, he was like, "Dude, that just didn't even make sense to me." I'm like, "Dude, I'm sober. That didn't make sense to me." So we were all kind of laughing about that during their show, of course, because I'm actually in front of the mosh pit at this point. But that's when a lot of like the actual like pushing and shoving happens towards the front. And I'm thinking, now this is what I'm talking about. Because I'm trying to get, more of those people into the mosh pit as well. They got a circle pit going, which again, of course, was fun. But I just really wasn't feeling like going into the mosh pit. And it wasn't for the fact that, I was with my friend. I kind of wanted to hang out with her too. Actually, I really wanted to just hang out with her and enjoy the show. But of course, I always got to get, jump in and get bumped around somewhere just because that's what I like to do. It just wasn't like the best vibe, and I just wasn't really feeling the mosh pit. I look back and I'm like, this is just not that big of a size. There's not that many people in there, and throughout the shows I've been going to, especially at the rave, especially lately, so probably from when I saw Anti-Flag and Pennywise up until this Devil Wears Prada show, I have seen a lot of the same people at those shows and in the mosh pit, so I've been getting to know them, and I saw none of them there. It's like, oh, darn. I was kind of disappointed in that. I wanted to see those people. Pretty much they all know me at this point because I always wear my Kevin Harvick hat, NASCAR driver, to these shows, and I have a fun time with them. I'm just like, okay, this is good stuff. In the end, though, at Norma Jean's last song, then that's when the more like the push and shove and mosh pit style started getting up, and it got closer to where I was. So I kind of just rolled right into it, was having a good time with it. I needed to get some of that anger out to the mosh pit right there. Was totally worth it. Overall, when it comes to Norma Jean, let me think. Was I really feeling Norma Jean? I enjoyed it, but again, it was something where it was where the expectations lied and what was actually given just wasn't met for me. And again, that's just because from the past couple of shows I've seen, or past like 5 or 6, the energy has been rather good and very intense. I'm going to take out Devil Wears Prada, or I'm going to take out I Prevail and Day to Remember show for that one because I was expecting more. But like Ice Nine, Motionless, Guar, Disturbed, you're not going to really get the mosh pit, but it was a different energy. Riot Fest, Anti-Flag Pennywise, yeah, you're gonna get a completely different vibe. So Norma Jean, did I enjoy them? Yeah, I did enjoy listening to Norma Jean. But now let's get to the Devil Wears Prada. Now, why am I doing this weird thing with my hand in the video? Okay, so my friend Natasha, she has liked the Devil Wears Prada since she was in like middle school. Me, I never really got into Devil Wears Prada. I never really fully got into the metalcore genre until actually beginning of this year. I never really cared for it because I never really cared for all those unclean vocals. But I started kind of dabbling into it a little bit more. Listen a little bit more Treyu, listen a little bit more. I mean, just kind of stuff that had a little bit more of that. Or yeah. Man, I'm kind of getting tired too. That's why kind of these yawns are coming. I'm doing this on a Sunday night. I've had a long week, guys. But, I got to get this stuff up because I enjoy it. So, she was excited. I'm like, you know what? Let's just see what happens. Right up front, right next to the rail. But in between those shows, oh my God, there are this group of I swear, they had to be 16 or 17-year-old girls. And there's there's guys that were trying to hit him. They're in their 30s. I'm like, guys, they're underage, right? What? And they're like, oh my God, these guys are fucking idiots. But they kept trying to find these two girls' friends. They're like, oh my God, we need to find her. I can't remember her name, but they started screaming just to try and find her. And I'm just like, oh dear God. Am I getting old for being oh dear God, and that? But I just didn't want to listen to it because you're not going to find them. It's not going to be like when we saw Ice Nine and someone lost their shoe during Fit for a King set and we were chanting, shoe, 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 and we found it. Mostly because when you chant inanimate objects, it's a lot better than chanting a person's name. It's actually kind of fun. So as time kept going on, I was talking to people next to us. We were having a good time. Then all of a sudden, place goes dark. On comes Devil Wears Prada. So here they come. We're going to see what happens when Devil Wears Prada comes on. And I ended up watching a little bit more of the show, even though because again, I'm in front right close to the rail. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going on, and I'm enjoying it, but I'm actually trying to spend the most amount of my time, basically, because my friend Natasha was in front of me. I was trying to spend a lot of time, just holding people back with my, basically with my back and my butt, and my legs just hold, box them out, just box them out, hold. And I think I did an okay job with that. But then I was getting pushed and shoved too, and I'm like, I got to get on this pushing and shoving. I was having a good time with that. Watching the Devil Wears Prada, though, one thing I do have to say is, if you check out the videos on our Instagram page, the lighting that they did, it was rather intense, rather hard, and I thought, you know what? You guys did a pretty good job with this, mostly because I actually did like the lighting. It really worked well with all constantly flashing, kind of stroby, but with how crazy things are getting, yeah. I thought it really, really, really worked. I don't really have much more to say about Devil Wears Prada because listening to their music, it's not really something that I'm really getting into. See, what the thing is with their style of metalcore, I just don't really feel their sound. I don't know what it is. It's just something that I'm not entirely getting. So, taking a look at some of the other metalcore bands I've really gotten into, again, Motionless in White. It was after listening to their first two songs that I ever heard, which was Voices and going into Eternally Yours, I was just hooked. And I mean hooked. Ice Nine now. I mean, just the whole entire Silver Scream album just brought me into it. And then seeing them live just really sunk me into it. I'll bring up As I Lay Dying as well. I didn't care for them. All of a sudden, they came out with their Dying Machine album. And when you hear Blinded, especially after the intro, my God, is it good. And I'm probably missing a couple others in there when it comes to metalcore, but again, starting to get into that kind of the genre, but there's something just missing with Devil Wears Prada that I'm just not really fully getting into. And it might just be because, again, I've heard of them before and I've known of their name, but I never really cared for their music when I was younger, so it's a little bit hard for me to get back, try and, give them a second chance, get back into them. Listen to them live, I didn't think they did a bad job, though. Trust me, I didn't think they did a bad job. I enjoyed the show. I just didn't enjoy it as much as, the previous 7. So it's not going to be a top 5 one for me, guys. Sorry for all you Devil Wears Prada fans, or for anyone who's at the rave that night thinking, that was one of the best shows. I just wasn't feeling it. Again, my perspective, so wasn't the best overall. We actually had a girl that was kind of next to us that was crowd surfing. Again, I'm in front. Okay, she started crowd surfing next. She's like, put me up. We're right by the rail. You get up, the security guard's just going to grab you right away. It's start towards the back and then come up. We had a good amount of crowd surfers coming our way. They knocked off my hat a couple of times. People kept giving it back to me because they know me as probably the NASCAR guy at this point. And I'm like, yeah, I still have my hat. So, of course, I'm always happy when I have my hat. The one thing that Devil Wears Prada did that I thought was absolutely, this was the thing that made me really get and feel that energy and just kind of change the vibe of the show around too. They did a metalcore cover of All My Life by the Foo Fighters, and I thought they did a fantastic job with it. The mixture, the vocals, especially with their lead guitarist, and then their basically their just main vocalist, their frontman, I thought was done to incredible extent, incredible lengths. I actually really enjoyed it, so it was fun to listen to. Overall, though, would I put this show in my top 10 or top 5 for the year? No, it's not going to make top 5 for the year. And by the time I make that video for top 5 of the year, unfortunately, I'll probably have that after. I'll probably do that whole entire thing and really get down path what I want to go for it before my last concert of the year right now, which is going to be Anti-Flag. So we'll see what happens. But do I think it's going to be in the bottom 5? See, I don't know. I'm not going to commit to saying no to that one just because of the opener being Gideon and Gideon. It's just the energy just wasn't the same. The energy just wasn't where it needed to be. But would I go see them again? You know, I'd give them another shot. Yeah, why not give them another shot? They deserve it. I like their light show. Man, am I getting a little nasally or sick or something? I should have had water for this, but now my voice is starting to get scratchy. So that was my concert experience for the weekend. You know, not too much there. Otherwise, one thing else I want to talk about too is one of my favorite bands. I believe I put them at number 3 on my list for favorite bands as of like when I was 24 in like 2019. Is Hollywood Undead. I've liked Hollywood Undead since 2012 when I first saw them live, and I'm like, oh shoot, they're the, you know, everywhere I go, people always know Charlie Sheen's got a weenie guy. They're the everywhere I go guys. Okay. And I got really into them. And I really liked their third album, Notes from the Underground, because it took it in a little bit more of a deeper direction. But it stayed hard. And then they went to Day of the Dead, where they kind of went deeper, they really kept it a lot harder, which I really did like. But then they kind of kept it light and playful too at times, which when they kept it light and playful, sometimes I'm like, you guys maybe didn't hit the mark like you did on Coming In Hot or Everywhere I Go. When their 5th album came out, that's probably my least favorite of the Hollywood Undead albums, just because I like songs like We Own the Night and California Dreamin'. I don't really care for some of the other songs that they've put out on that album, especially it was just like, I think they're trying to capture some of the, you know, a little bit more mellow, relaxed kind of vibes. And I just really wasn't feeling it. So I wasn't a big fan of that album. And I know there's people like, oh my God, Kevin, you're more than a fan of that album. How could you? No, I really wasn't. I thought it was a little bit of a snoozer. And why the heck is my computer not working? I'm just trying to type it so I can pull up some stuff on Hollywood Undead. Here we go. So they announced that they're coming out with a new album in 2020 called New Empire. Is it New Empire? I believe it is. Yeah, their New Empire. New Empire Volume 1 drops on Valentine's Day 2020. Now, do I plan on doing an album review for this? You better believe it! Because I like Hollywood Undead, of course we do album review it. However, I know they released a new single called Time Bomb. I didn't even listen to Time Bomb yet. I just been so into some of this other stuff. I just haven't listened to it, but I did listen to, what was it, their Already Dead one. And not gonna lie, I am actually a little concerned about Hollywood Undead and going into this new album. The reason being is because I kind of want them to mix back what they kind of had with American Tragedy, just because it had such more of a raw and hard metal sound to it in the instrumentation, and I love the rap metal style to it because they really pull it off well. I think they do. When they go hard on songs like Hear Me Now, I'm trying to think some of the other ones that come off them. Bend to Hell, that's another good one off that album. So songs like that, I love what they do with those. And then mix it with something like Notes from the Underground too. You can get some of those songs that go a little bit deeper but stay hard. Like I actually really like We Are. That song's not even all that hard, but it stays kind of deeper. Then mix with Day Dead. So kind of go more like that Notes from the Underground style. And I think they're not really going that direction. I think they're going a little bit more of like a techno-y and more more of like a just not as hard direction. Again, I'm not gonna, be like, oh, I'm not gonna like this album because of the way the first single sounded. No, why would I? Reason being is because you got to give them a chance. You got sometimes, like Wage War with their Pressure album. I'm like, these guys have an album of the year candidate on their hands just after listening to the singles. Then I listened to the rest of the album. When it came out, I thought, oh no. Trying to think of some other albums where I was like, not really feeling the singles. But, then you listen to the rest of the album, you're like, oh my God, this is good. So again, you're always going to get something like that. But when it comes to Hollywood Undead, I think they're starting to change their formula, and they're featuring Danny a lot more. And that was really prevalent on 5. There was a lot of songs where the vocalist was purely Danny, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. And please don't get me wrong, this isn't because, I like Danny as a vocalist. I really like what he brings to the table, and I like how they've been using him ever since American Tragedy came out, because they always have him in the chorus, and just a little bit more of a higher pitch and less, less rap rocky style, more just actual rock style vocal really plays well. And I like what they do. And then there's times where it's just like on 5, I should say. V is, the Roman numeral for 5. There's times where it just did not hit me very well. There's times where it just dragged on because Danny was the sole vocalist, and it was really soft on songs like Ghost Beach. I just didn't care for it at all, and I think they're kind of going a little bit more towards that direction where I really want to see a little bit more from Charlie Sheen. I want to see more from Johnny Three Tears. I want to hear more from those guys. I know they came out with their Psalms EP, and Danny wasn't even featured on the song Gotta Let Go, but that song was rather soft in terms of sound, but it actually puts out a really good message. I did like what they did on Bloody Nose on that EP, though. I really do. So I'm kind of hoping it sticks towards that a little bit more, but then again, we never know what we're going to get because, we're not the ones that made the album. We're just the ones that are going to be listening to it, and we're going to give you our unfiltered take on it. So I'm kind of excited to see what Hollywood Undead is going to do in 2020, and we'll see what else happens in 2020 as well. Again, I'm going to make a whole video going over like what I expect from 2020. But, I'm looking for some new artists, looking for artists to come out with albums in 2020. Hollywood Undead being one of them. In this moment, when are you going to come out with, Mother? Come on. We know it's going to be 2020 now, but man, is that going to be a very interesting one, especially with the tour with Black Veil Brides, Ashley Purdy now leaving Black Veil Brides, which is another piece of news that happened, which kind of caught a lot of us off guard. Well, a lot of Black Veil Brides fans off guard. When I saw them, like, okay, so you just announced a tour with In This Moment, and now Ashley's backing out of the band? But everything seems to be all hunky-dory with the band and Ashley. You know what? If it's an amicable split, that's awesome. If everyone's going to be happier, that's awesome. Just stick with it. But again, we'll see what happens. We'll see how that all ends up and plays out. But when it comes to 2020 albums, I'm just going to say this right now because we talked a little bit about this. I believe we talked about this on the live stream from the previous week. I've talked about some other people as well, but I have to mention it. And we had 2 albums that were supposed to come out in 2019 that we're going to get in 2020. One being You're Welcome by Day to Remember, and one being Mother by In This Moment. Now, both of them have been delayed till 2020. However, in talking with a lot of people, everyone is a little bit more critical when it comes to In This Moment. And let me explain why. So we've been teased with an album, it's coming out in summer. Then all of a sudden we saw this huge thing where they're doing a whole entire Halloween, the in-between. So it's like, okay, let's see what's going to happen here. And we never got anything. We haven't got any new song unless you saw them live with Disturbed. They played one of their new songs. It was much softer, much focused on Maria's vocals for that song. I did mention it after I saw Disturbed. So if you look at the one podcast, I think it's like episode 37, I believe. If you listen to that one, it's the one before the episode that's called Kevin Walks the Sky and Cuts His Eye. It's the one right before, or no, that's the one. No, it's the one before that, my bad. It's the one before that I talk about it. The In This Moment song. But we've known about some of this stuff. We knew it was going to keeps getting pushed back, and then we get lied to, and we haven't even got a new song. We got a tour, but we'll see what happens. And talking with people are, getting a little bit more volatile towards it, to saying, we are expecting this album Mother, to be fantastic because of all the delays and all the lies. So it's either got to be really fantastic, but you're going to have this bell curve where it's going to be more towards, dislike, I would say, just because of all the weight. And it's just, unless you really kill it, then you're looking fine. If you put together an average In This Moment album, people are not going to like it due to the fact of the weight and the deceit. Taking a look at A Day to Remember now, where the feelings and the vibes are very different, because they're talked about that You're Welcome is going to come out. They never actually set a date. I mean, we were told that the date was going to be November 15th, which was this previous Friday. And when the band came out with a note saying, post on social media, You're Welcome was supposed to come out on November 15th, I celebrated because I'm like, yeah, my sources were right. But then they said it's not ready. It will come out in early 2020. And a lot of people were like, okay, this is a little bit different than in this one, because we never knew when the day was. It was never announced. Nothing. No press. Nada. Then now you're saying it's going to be late, but you're telling us when it's expected to come out. You're giving us that information. That information is key to this, because again, we're dealing with more of a back and forth and just transparent moniker. So there's a lot of people that are a little bit more, have a little bit more leeway towards A Day to Remember on this. Me being one of those people included, I'm giving A Day to Remember a lot more leeway, just due to the fact that I think they deserve it on this one, due to the fact that, again, they're telling us the truth. They're being a lot more upfront and spot on with us when it comes to that new music. I'm trying to think of some other bands that you can maybe expect new music from. Foo Fighters. I know they said Dave Grohl was working on some stuff that could be potentially really weird. He said it. Taylor Hawkins commented on it. Like, yeah, he's got, a lot of things going on. But then again, if I've learned anything from a lot of time when it comes to music, especially in the 21st century, when it comes to rock music, it's what Dave Grohl's going to do. You just got to trust Dave Grohl. He knows what he's doing. I mean, this guy is one of the best songwriters of all time. Well, maybe, yeah. One of the best songwriters. This is one of the best musicians of all time, just based on his sheer talent, from songwriting to being a frontman to guitar. I mean, playing drums in one of the probably the biggest band in the 90s with Nirvana. Yeah, it happens. So he definitely has some stuff there. Let's see, what else am I expecting in 2020? Just kind of off the top of the head. We'll see what happens with Rise Against, because they haven't come out with a new album since 2017. They did do the Ghost Note Symphonies in 2018. But my expectation for Rise Against is they're going to come out with one in 2021. It sounds like my buddy's like chopping or jacking off or something. Just to keep your like. I think he's cutting stuff. I don't know what the heck he's doing, but yeah. I will see what happens in 2020. I'll have a whole video detailing it right at the beginning of 2020. It'll come out on the 1st because, hey, it's New Year's. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah. Also, we're like a week and a half out from Thanksgiving, and so much Christmas stuff is coming up. And by that, I mean, I've seen Christmas commercials since October. I've known people that are talking to me like, oh, get in the Christmas spirit because it's snowing. I'm like, it's November. Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet. And I'm not trying to be a Grinch or anything. It's just, this is kind of where I look at it with Christmas. It's Christmas and you're going to get the exact same stuff. It's all the same songs. And when they play newer songs, it's like, oh, maybe I don't like that artist. So let's go and do something. Let's go back to the old stuff. You listen on the radio, they're just playing all the old songs, all the old artists. And it's just like, and I'm talking about like Perry Como, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra kind of artists. And it's just like, I like this stuff. Don't worry. I mean, I'm not bashing stuff. What I'm saying, bashing is the fact of the matter is we're exposed to it for so long during the season. And I get it. There's a lot of people like, oh my God, it can be Christmas all the time. I love it. But I get sick of it pretty quickly. Especially the Christmas, because it's just the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like, I'll probably start listening to it like 5 or 4 days beforehand. And then by the time Christmas comes, I'm not sick and tired of it. I don't want to, I'm not like, I have to listen to this again. I still remember back when I was slinging beer for, at like the grocery stores, like stocking the shelves. Oh my God. I did it over a winter once and I got back. It was like a week before Christmas. Okay. Week before Christmas. I was in college. I had not listened to any Christmas music from the time I basically at all up to that point. It was a week beforehand that I went to the first grocery store and they're just playing Christmas music. And, I enjoyed it for the first 2 days. But then after the third day, I'm just hearing the same songs over and over and over and over again. I'm just like, oh, dear God. However, don't get me wrong. Like, I will listen to some of that stuff. And then some of the other Christmas songs I listen to, I'll try and find some of those hard rock songs. I mean, take a look at Twisted Sister's, a Twisted Christmas album. I actually really do enjoy that kind of stuff. I know Goldfinger came out with an EP last year with 4 Christmas songs on there, and I enjoyed listening to that as well because it's a little bit more, ska infused Christmas. I will do a 5 or 4 day. I'll do like a 5 or 6 day thing where it comes to Christmas music as the song of the day choice, but it's not going to be that's. Well, I mean, you might get somewhere it's like, oh, this is, the most wonderful time of the year by this band. Actually, that will be one of the songs. I know a band that actually recently made a cover of it that's going to be our feature. So, might actually do a podcast episode where I interview that band. Well, should I tell you who? No, it's a secret. Secrets are no fun, but Kevin likes to keep it a secret this time, so haha. Well, that was really bad on my part. Wow. But I've also been kind of, especially today, like I was driving around, by where my parents live, about a neighborhood about maybe 2 miles west of them. They always put up their, that's the Milwaukee candy cane lane. So you go there, everyone has all the Christmas lights up. All that stuff's already being put up. It's already put up now right now. I'm like, we're still a week and a half away from Thanksgiving, guys. Come on. Again, I get Thanksgiving is late this year, but come on. It's something that's just, I don't know. I think another reason why I can't stand some of this stuff, especially when it comes to Christmas being pushed onto us so early, is I love Thanksgiving. I absolutely love Thanksgiving. I don't want it to be forgotten about. And I mean, I like Christmas. Don't get me wrong. I like the season. But it's just, I kind of get sick of it pretty quickly. And you know what? In the end, I can bitch, I can moan, I can complain all I want. I know there's a lot of people out there that really do enjoy it. So when it comes down to it, I tell them, I'm not going to listen to that stuff. But if you want to, go ahead. I know people that listen to Christmas music in July. It's like, oh my God, it's so hot. It makes me feel cold and cozy. It's just like, yeah, okay, cool. Do you want to listen to it? Hell no. I just don't want to. But man, got a little rant on Christmas there. What am I doing? Who rants about Christmas? Me. Probably Bill Burr. Probably Joe Rogan at some point when he had a guest on. They ranted about Christmas. Bert Kreischer and his pajama story. If you ever listen to that, go listen to that. That's actually pretty messed up, but kind of funny. Well, it's just messed up because Bert Kreischer doesn't listen. Well, he listens literally, not listens and really process. He just listens whatever the hell they say, which is actually, again, kind of funny. But when it comes to Christmas, I'm not going to be blasting you with song of the day choices all throughout December where it's like, oh my God, it's this Christmas song. It's this Christmas song. I will do some of that, but it'll be like the 20th through the 25th. Yeah, I think it is the 20th through the 25th. And I got bands that I've already want to do this with, and I've got the songs I already want to do them with. Like, for example, here's an example I'll give you. One that is completely out of the ordinary that, if you listen to it, I'm like, this is kind of a Christmas. Merry Axis by Ice Nine Kills. It's going to be one of them. I mean, you watch music video, it's about, Santa going on a rampage and the little kid just, finding out about it. If you watch a music video, he's basically playing an old 8-bit video game like on your own original Nintendo. Well, Spencer is 34, so it kind of coincides. Wait, does it? I don't know. Does it? Now I'm kind of stuck on this. Could have been more than 84. 90. Yeah, I mean, probably. Yeah, it would work. So, I mean, that's going to be something like I pull up for Christmas. I mean, I gotta find stuff that's not going to be, your standard Christmas songs. that were made by some, rock or metal bands. I will get a couple of those, or maybe one of those, but I'm going to try and find something where it's, they actually made something for it and it was good. But man, maybe I kind of want Christmas to come now. Nah, let's enjoy the time that's now. That's better. Man, I kind of just want a little bit of like a philosophical rant. You know what, guys? If you like Christmas, just listen to all that stuff you want. I'm just not going to do it. Because, well, right now, it ain't Christmas time for me. Christmas time for me is when I start, hanging out, my family's coming together. That's when I start feeling like that's when I know it's Christmas time. Then you get to the end of the year, too, and the end of the year is always a fun time as well. And, of course, you guys know, for the end of the year, December 31st, I probably already mentioned this, Song of the Day choice that I make on December 31st is a permanent Song of the Day choice on December 31st. Same thing with my birthday, too. I'll play the same song. That'll be the feature every single time. And it's not that, for the one on my birthday, yeah, that's the one I want. For the one before the end of the year, that's just good stuff. Well, friends, folks, and people of the Chord Progression Podcast listening community, I think that's it. And again, not the longest one. Maybe next week we can get someone on. Well, maybe not because I'm actually kind of pretty busy. But I got some other stuff I got to take care of too, like the sponsorship stuff. For the Amazon Alexa skill, I'm going to have to rework the code into a different language because it's not going to support the language as the beginning of 2020. So I'm going to have to make those changes to make sure we're providing you with the optimal experience at all times. And, well, maybe I'll go to a concert this week. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm going to a Gopher game this week, though, so woo-hoo! Even though they're 9-1, I don't care. Woo-hoo! But you know what, guys? Here's what I want to say to you before I leave. Again, if you like Christmas, enjoy it. If you want to listen to music now, go for it. I'm just not going to do it. And also, I love you guys. Now, it's kind of starting like Michael Keaton. Yeah, I love the fact you guys are listening to all this stuff, enjoying it, and let's just keep making this great. Let's just keep making everything about this fantastic. We're going to keep delivering every step of the way. So that's going to be it for me. This is Kevin from My Sunday Rock 2000 Day Chord Progression Podcast. I'm going to end it with my classic, see ya!